You're listening to the Show We Go Baseball podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 78 to the Show We Go. I got Ed Hand, as always, my co-host here, and I am Andrew Parker, if you're not watching this on YouTube. We have our first new member of the Red Sox. I know if you're listening to this and you've listened to a bunch of episodes last year, I think me and Ed talked to almost every single guy from the 2023 draft class for the Red Sox, like almost 2 weeks after they got drafted.
We got a pretty good number of them, and some of them have done. Some of the guys that you haven't heard of have done well. Some of the guys you have heard of, it's been a pretty successul class. So excited to get back to the beginning of another one, though.
Oh yeah. So without further ado, this is why you guys are all here. Obviously, we have one of the newest members of the Red Sox organization. And I have a question about your potential middle name. I don't know if it's true or not, but I know it's making rounds. But we have Calvin Bickerstaff on. He just
Say the full name. Say the full name.
I got to know, is Wolfgang the middle name?
Calvin Wolfgang Bickerstaff. Yep.
Okay.
That is my middle name.
Right. That is such a cool name. Is there a story behind the Wolfgang? Like, where does that come from?
I don't think there's much of a big backstory to it. I just think my parents thought it was cool. So, yeah, that's pretty much it to it.
All right.
Bickerstaff is a cool name too. Like, what? Like, is that like that feels very Anglo to me? Bickerstaff.
German.
Gotcha.
German for sure. Yeah, it's a long last name.
Hey, well, I mean, all right, Calvin Wolfgang Bickerstaff. I love it. All right, I want to open this up. Obviously, we're doing this so that way some fans get to know you. Obviously, like you might not have been on a lot of fans' radars and everything. Obviously, not going to college here. You're not from New England, anything like that. So I do kind of want to open it up and just like I'm going to give you the floor here. And I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, so I apologize. But
no
could you just give like an elevator pitch on who you are and what? I guess let Red Sox fans know who you are.
Yeah, my name's Calvin Wolfgang Bickerstaff. I'm from Steubenville, Ohio. It's about 50 minutes from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right on the border. A lot of people have a tough time understanding where it is. Not near any big cities in Ohio, but I spent the past 4 years at Kent State University. I did early in my career up there. I was a bullpen reliever guy, and then this past season I was a starter for them. Started on Sundays at the beginning of the year, then moved to Fridays. And I'm just a competitor out there. I like to fill the zone up. So now I'm down in Fort Myers, Florida, working out at the spring training camps right now.
What did you study at Kent State?
I graduated with a degree in applied engineering, and then after that I got accepted into the master's program for engineering technology.
That's really impressive. Like, was there like a specific type of engineering, or is it just like a generalized engineering?
It is a generalized one, but the master's program I was going into was more working with technology, like smartphones, different things like that. But that's postponed for now. We'll get back to that, later. I was playing baseball still.
You're good at math, then, is what that sounds like to me.
Yeah, that was always my strong suit in school. Was definitely math class.
I have to ask too. So obviously, being at Kent State, it's let's just say it's like under the radar a little bit. Obviously, you weren't like a big like SEC school, and they're in the MAC for baseball, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what was that like? I guess being obviously a weekend starter for Kent State and going through like the MACtion throughout the baseball season, and I guess how was the competition in college for you?
The competition was actually really good in the MAC. There's guys every single year that get picked up. So it's pretty competitive for sure, and I loved every bit of it. Kent State was perfect for me. I have absolutely no complaints about it. The competition was great. The guys that I met, all 4 years there playing ball were all great as well.
Just going through your scouting report, you throw a lot of strikes, like a lot of strikes. Is that something? Is that part of the way that you approach batters, or do you just happen to have very good control? Like, is there like where did that come from? The control?
I would say a little bit of both. I've always been a strike thrower. I've always, low walks throughout my whole career. But once I started realizing that, because it just came to me one day, I was like, wow, like I walk a lot less people than, an average pitcher. I started using that to my advantage. I could pitch in and out really well, up and down, everywhere really well. So then that also helped me learn, just growing up, how to pitch to batters, what makes them uncomfortable, following what pitch, and depending on the scenario. But that definitely has helped me become a better pitcher, being able to use my good command.
When did you this past year, obviously, like Ed was just saying, you literally only walked 5 guys in 2024 and 56 and 2/3 innings. What part of the season did you get? Like, did you going into it? Obviously, I saw all the other years, you didn't really walk a ton of guys, like you just said. It's kind of your thing. So it's like, when do you get to a point throughout the year where you're just like, okay, like I don't want to hit 10 walks this year. I don't want to hit 8. Like, did you have goals like that before you started this past year?
No, not at all. And honestly, I didn't really notice until quite a few starts into the year. Somebody mentioned it to me and said, like, you only have 2 walks or 3 walks. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But no, I'm not afraid to walk people. Like, yeah, that's part of the game. It happens. So no, I never set a goal, anything like that. I just, happened to live in the zone.
So you weren't drafted, but you were signed very quickly after the draft as an undrafted free agent. Was there an inkling that you were going to end up on the Red Sox prior to that? And how did the conversation after the draft go?
Right. So I thought I had a chance throughout the draft. So I had my phone ready by me the whole time. And it wasn't until the 20th round, right when it was wrapping up, I got a phone call from Connor, and he said that I was second on the Red Sox list right now, but they have 1 pick left. So we were going to see what we could do. And then it was not even a minute after the draft. He called me back and said that the Red Sox want me. So I said, let's do it, of course. So it did happen pretty fast.
What's that feeling like for you? I mean, did you grow up a big baseball fan?
Oh, definitely. This is my dream all along, to play at the next level. So definitely when I got the chance to do so, I was incredibly excited.
Was there a point when you thought, and I don't know if it was this season or previously or even when you were in high school, but was there a point when you thought, man, maybe I might be able to do this professionally? Right.
Yeah. I had my senior year of high school. There was some talks. There was going to be a chance, but that ended up being the COVID year. Draft was cut down to 5 rounds. So going to Kent State University was the best option for me. And then not until I got the starting spot my senior year at Kent, redshirt junior year. And things were going really well for me. The thought came back around that, hey, I could potentially do this at the next level.
Yeah. Is this something that, like, how are your parents with it? Are they big baseball people?
They're thrilled. This is, everything.
What do they do?
My mom is a vice president portfolio manager, and my dad is retired.
Gotcha. What did he do before he retired?
He worked in the steel mill.
Gotcha. Very, very Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
I want to. I'm gonna throw it back here. Obviously, you are down in Fort Myers right now. You've been down there for the past few days. What have I guess you've been up to the last few days down at the complex, and I guess have you been meeting all the other guys? Like, how has that been?
Right. So basically the past 3 days, the first day we had our physicals, just getting all that checked out, and those just got cleared. But the past 3 days have been like an orientation. We've had optional work, but we're not allowed to work out with any coaches or anything until our physicals pass. But it's been like an orientation. We've had multiple meetings, meeting all the staff down here. It's been really good so far. But yeah, I think tomorrow we're getting started with everything, so it should be good.
I was going to ask too, who I guess I know on your end it was Connor that called you and told you were getting drafted, but whenever you did get that call, did you ended up getting a call from the Red Sox, I would assume?
Yes, after I had agreed to sign from
Okay.
between Connor, but yes, later on I did get a call from somebody with the Red Sox.
And so how was that? Like, what did you guys kind of talk about? Was it very brief, or was it something like, where they were just like, hey, we like this about you, or how does that something like that go?
It was very brief. It was just welcome to the Red Sox. Congratulations. And then just we'll get some information emailed to you later on, and enjoy the rest of your night.
So what do you do? What do you do?
He's got a dog barking, so I'll take over until he's
all good.
So last year, what was kind of funny is I kind of preluded to this earlier in the episode, but last year we talked to a lot of the 2023 class right after they got drafted, and a lot of the guys were down, like, they had all met each other in the hotels, like in the hallways, like it was the first time everybody was really meeting each other. And they were, I feel like they were already bonding, like within the first few days, like they were already like going out to eat and stuff like that. Like, has any of that like gone on with you guys, or is that probably not till after you guys sign? Like, I guess, how has that been?
Oh, definitely. It's pretty cool. And it's just the same as every other baseball team. I've been on summer leagues in college. Each bunch of guys the same age. First day, everybody's, quiet or getting to know each other a little bit. And then the second day, everybody's best friends with each other. That's how it always goes. And yeah, everybody's great down here. We're all very close already. So yeah.
I know you're not like, there was something. Oh, actually, never mind. I stand corrected. Last year they drafted two guys that were 6'7", Blake Wehunt and Trenner O'Donnell. And they were roommates, actually, so it was very fitting. I didn't realize that you were 6'5" until just right now. So you're actually one of the big guys. But I did notice a trend that they did draft a ton of dudes that were just really tall. And I think that's been their thing the last like couple of years. Like, is that true? Like, did you kind of mingle with some of the guys and be like, okay, we're a big group of guys here?
Oh yeah, somebody with the Red Sox staff mentioned, I think today, that we decided to draft a bunch of basketball players this year. And yeah, being 6'5", I'm used to being the tallest guy in the room, and there's quite a few guys that are taller than me, if not they're the same height as me. So that's definitely new for me, but it's pretty cool.
So in that part of Ohio, did you grow up like a Pirates fan, or like what team did you grow up following? And is there
Pittsburgh?
Did you have a favorite pitcher?
Not a favorite pitcher, but growing up, Andrew McCutchen was my favorite baseball player.
I love McCutchen. He's one of those guys that I feel like even if you didn't grow up in Pittsburgh, if you're just a baseball fan, you're going to absolutely love the guy. Like, were you stoked when he re-signed with Pittsburgh?
Definitely. Yeah. For sure.
Doesn't that make you feel old, Ed, that you ask somebody who they liked growing up and they say McCutchen? Like, he's whenever we were growing up.
Listen. I'm the same age as Freddie Freeman, and people talk about him being old. So, like, I get it. I know that I am old at this point.
All right, fair. I'm still on the right side of 30, so I'm not like that old. But like, I did see you're still 22, so it's like, all right, like, we're starting to get to that point where everybody getting drafted is like born in the year 2000 or later. So it's like, I'm starting to feel a little old, but all right. So I just saw something on the page as well that I got to ask you about. I was going to ask you if you had ever been to New England before, but I did see you played summer ball in Keene, New Hampshire. What was your experience like in Keene? Because I'm a New Hampshire guy. I live in Nashua, cool. So I'm not too far. So what was it like playing in New England?
Keene, New Hampshire was awesome. It was so my freshman year at Kent State, I was redshirted, and then I got some playing time in Keene, and it was great. It's just a small little town in the middle of the state, nothing much around. It's a baseball town, That's all those people do up there is go to the Swamp Bats games. I remember walking around the town with my mom, and we ran into some people. We're like, hey, like, what's cool? Like, what's fun to do around here? Like, what should I get into this summer? And they're like, oh, you should definitely go to a Swamp Bats game. And I was like, well, I'll be at every single one of those. But no, it was great. I actually got to go down to Boston and catch a Red Sox game. So that was my first time there, and that was pretty cool. Looking back 4 years later, I'm with that organization, so that's pretty neat. But yeah, everything else, the travel and all the area, I really like that league a lot.
Now, when you no, you go, Andrew. Sorry.
I was going to follow up on that. It's kind of, I don't know if I'm sure you've probably already done some digging into the affiliates. Obviously, like, you're about to get started on the track, but obviously like the different towns it is. And it's always funny because I was just covering a game in Portland and I was talking to some of the guys that are in with the Sea Dogs. And one of the guys, Christian Campbell, had just gotten up there. And I asked him the question because it was a sold out crowd of all Red Sox fans in Manchester, New Hampshire, like playing the Blue Jays affiliate. And I asked him, I'm like, are you used to this yet? Like being absolutely surrounded by Red Sox fans? Because when you get started in the system, it goes Salem, Virginia, which, not Red Sox country. Then it goes Greenville, still not. But then once you get up to Portland, it's like, okay, you're in the thick of it. Have you kind of like been thinking about yet? Like, okay, like you're kind of like mapping out like the route you got to take when you go through the system.
I've definitely looked at it a bit. Haven't done much with it. Just kind of seeing how far each of these towns are from my hometown. Seeing when my parents could make games and whatnot. But that's really the extent of it. Haven't done much past that.
Now, do you have any siblings, or is it just you and your folks?
I have 4 dogs and 3 cats, so they kind of count. But no, it's just
they
me.
Count. What kind of dogs do you have?
We have 2 American bulldogs, 1 French bulldog, 1 English bulldog.
Oh my god, those bulldogs are such a good breed. I had a pug for a long time, which isn't. They're flat faced, so I consider them distantly related to French bulldogs. But no,
right.
those are that must be absolutely wild. Like when the mailman comes by with that many.
Oh, it's a zoo sometimes, but it's always enjoyable.
I'm gonna be honest with you. So usually when I prepare for an interview, you always got to creep, right? So it's like, especially for a guy that's brand new to the system. So obviously like took a look at the IG, everything like that. And you can always pick up things, right? Like you can always pick up like if a guy like likes to golf, like he might have like some golfing photos or whatever he likes to do, right? For you though, I noticed 2 things right away. A lot of baseball, a lot of family, and a lot more baseball, which nothing wrong with that. That is fantastic.
I saw a lot of baseball as well, and I was kind of like, man, there is nothing to work with here.
Which is totally good. Like that's
it was kind
that's
of that's smart is what that is. In this day and age with social media, that's really smart.
Yeah. So my question was going to be, what do you like to do when you're not on the field?
Yeah, so one of my favorite things to do is I have a 4-wheeler back home, and my parents have a side-by-side. So we used to go riding a lot, but we've kind of put that on hold just in case, something bad were to happen. So yeah, usually when I'm home now, I'm just hanging out with my parents and all the dogs and cats hanging around the house. But I love 4-wheeler, and I do play quite a bit of video games in my spare time.
So you? I'm assuming you've played the new college football game.
Yes.
Probably took the golden flashes in Dynasty all the way.
Sure have.
I spent some hours on that game already, man. It's not good.
Yeah.
But so are you? I gotta ask, because every single guy that we pretty much have on this show that's in the system, if you're not a golfer yet, you're gonna turn into one, or you're at least going to attempt it. Are you?
Well, I have a set of clubs.
Okay.
But I wouldn't call myself a golfer by any means.
Fair. I think mine are in the corner over here, but there's no way I'm breaking 100 anytime soon. So, all right, Ed. All right, Ed. I got a few more questions, so I didn't know if you what you had left in the tank.
I got a few too. I just have written here because I wrote the notes out beforehand this time because I'm trying to be professional this season. What does Calvin Bickerstaff do on a rainy day? And that kind of plays into that last one, but this is like you can't go outside. Are you just going to play video? Are you just going to play video games all day, or like what? Like what do you? I guess what do you do with it? That's not sorry. That came off as really condescending. Like, you're totally allowed to play video games all day if you want to with this.
Right. Well, it depends. You know, when I was up at Kent State, rainy day, I'm just, in addition to playing video games, hanging out with my roommates, and I would spend a lot of time in our indoor facility up there, outside of practice time, usually at night when just when I could get in after homework and whatnot. Here though, I'm still, new to the area. Well, I guess I'd be in a hotel. Just hanging with the guys, getting to know them all a little bit better, and video games.
But I mean, you're obviously really into baseball also. So how much of that is the more like advanced stuff? Like, are you looking forward to working with Driveline? Do you study like your own, I guess like your own, what would this be? Like, not sabermetrics, but what would the term be for this, Andrew? Like, I guess like your body mechanics and everything to try to maximize that stuff.
Yeah, like nerd stats almost, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so I do. I mean, mechanics are a huge thing. I'm always watching videos of myself throwing, whether it's in game or just getting some reps in at some point off the mound, looking at it. And then I'm going to be open to everything. I'm ready to get better. I feel like I'm far from my ceiling. So I'm ready to work, and I'm going to try everything that I can.
All right, Calvin, I have some off the wall questions here for you. I did this last year and I kind of tweaked it a little bit because I threw out some, brought in some others, but very random questions, and you don't even think about it. It's going to be very quick.
All right.
If you had a walkout song this year, what would it be?
Werewolves of London.
Love it.
Ed's already a fan.
That's a really good one. That's just a really good pick.
Who's a favorite athlete outside of baseball?
Oh, Michael Jordan.
I mean, you're already killing this. You have any?
You said outside of baseball.
Yeah, no.
Oh, he did play baseball. That's right.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
I was like, wait, what? All right, whatever.
I remember Space Jam.
I think we got Bo Jackson for that answer before too, and he did play baseball. Obviously. All right, you got any weird baseball superstitions?
I don't wear my chains when I pitch. I've tried that twice and didn't go well either times, but it's been years since then. But I'm still not willing to try it.
What's a pregame meal on the day you have to pitch?
Oh, I'll eat anything, whatever's provided.
Do you have a favorite food?
Probably steak. I'm very plain when it comes to food.
Okay. What is the I guess how am I going to word this? What are the number one thing that you are most excited for about joining the Red Sox organization?
Just to get better, work harder, and just improve my game overall in all aspects of it. I'm excited for that.
All right. One of my last random questions here. If you say, let's fast forward 2 months from today, is there anything that you have on the top of your mind that you would like to have accomplished by this time 2 months from now?
Relationships with all the people down here, all the staff down here. I feel like that's going to go a long way, and I'm going to be seeing them a lot in the future.
All right, Ed. Do you have anything before we wrap it up here?
What's a question that you've always wanted to be asked, but no one's ever asked you?
That's a good one. Probably something like how stressful is pitching, because I feel like people don't understand that it's tough sometimes, even on good days. Like out there, you got to be locked in every single pitch. So yeah, like how stressful the game can be pitching.
How have you learned to better cope with the stress from that? Because that's something that I think about. I played like a lot of tennis growing up, and I think that there are similarities between tennis and baseball, just in that it's you versus everybody else. You have a certain like selection in pitches, and you're trying to figure out what's going to work on them and what isn't. And there's also the mechanical part of it. What do you do if your mechanics start to break down? And it is a lot of stuff. So I guess what would you recommend to just other athletes that are starting to kind of reach that level, like of being like a college athlete or something, for dealing with the stress? Because I don't think that that's something that gets approached that much. Certainly not in high school sports.
Right. It's definitely said a lot. It would be short-term memory. But once you like actually understand having a short-term memory, it helps out a ton. Because you're always taught that growing up playing baseball, right? Short-term memory. It's a tough game, but when you actually like have a bad outing and can brush it off immediately, that helps out a ton. Especially for relievers, they might be out there the very next day and they can't, have last night's outing still in their mind.
Yeah. What about like in the middle of an outing though? Like you feel like, okay, my mechanics are off. Things are not this. I don't feel the way that I'm supposed to be feeling right now. Like how do you kind of settle yourself in and like grind that out?
Just compete to the best of my ability. I mean, I've definitely had days where something wasn't right or multiple things weren't right. Just compete to the best you can. It's not going to be this terrible every time. It's not going to be this bad every time. So as long as you can still compete, you'll be fine.
All right, we're not to the 30-minute mark yet. Ed just gave me some great ideas while he was asking questions there. I just got a few more. Obviously, earlier in the show, you were kind of talking about how, I guess, when you were introing yourself, that you were more of like, you were a bullpen guy. And then this past year, you started 11 games with Kent State. So my question to you is, obviously, transitioning from bullpen to starter, obviously, is a very different mindset. Going into pro ball now, though, obviously, you see a lot of guys that were predominantly starters in college go to just strictly bullpen roles in the majors or in the minor league ball. Have you kind of had any discussions on like if you're like what way like they see you as, or like what do you feel more comfortable doing? I guess how has that been?
Right. So personally, I don't have a preference. I am open to anything. And I feel like I have plenty of experience in both areas. Two full seasons and 2 summers as a bullpen guy. I know how I can get ready really quick to be ready whenever they need me. But same with starting. I'm fresh off of the starting season, so I still know my routines, know what all to do. That's gonna have me feeling the best for a start. So I feel like I'm definitely prepared to do either or, but we haven't had any conversations yet. Really, we're just going to be building up right now because I've taken some time off from throwing.
Man, it's really cool because like I can tell just from like even just from like this 25 minutes, you really love baseball. Like this really means a lot to you, and I feel like I know the answer already, but I'm just gonna ask anyway. But if you like hypothetically, or maybe it's next year, maybe it's a few years down the road, you get that call to the majors. What does that mean to you to make it that far up?
Oh, it's just all the hard work I've ever put in. That's the end goal, not the end goal. That's the main goal, is to get to the majors. And then there's a lot past that, but yeah, that's just all the hard work I've done ever since I was, say, 8 years old. So that'd be very rewarding.
Were you that kid that like you'd go to, like you're playing Little League and there's like kids that like baseball and there are kids there that like their parents are kind of forcing them to do it? Were you that kid that was like, no, I'm going to play in the majors someday?
No, I wasn't. I didn't start pitching till I think I was 10 years old probably. And by that time I was already playing on a travel team with a bunch of kids that, wanted to be there. Right. Their parents weren't dragging them there. But back when I was playing like T-ball and coaches pitch with, the kids I grew up with, no, that wasn't really a plan just yet. I was just out there being a kid having fun.
Right.
I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, or maybe I was thinking about the next question or something, but did you, whenever, I guess at the very beginning when you were introing yourself, did you kind of lay out like your pitch arsenal, like what you throw?
No, I did not. I am mainly fastball slider. I do have a changeup. It's been work in progress for about 3 years now. I'm just trying to find something that's really going to stick for me. But yeah, fastball and slider are my go-to for sure.
That's interesting with the changeup because I've heard that before where it's like not all changeups are created equal. So I'm just curious, like ideally, what would it just be like a change of pace thing? Would it be like a movement thing? Like what I guess like what hasn't worked and what are you looking for?
So I've just different grips. First of all, like that's the main thing to work with. And some pitches have more horizontal break, some have more vertical break, but I haven't found a pitch I can really depend on. Like when I'm going to put somebody out, I'm either burying a slider, or throwing a fastball up in the zone. But I think it would be incredibly beneficial to just get a wicked changeup that I could really use to put guys out with.
I was going to ask that because I've heard a lot, and obviously in low minors, you always hear reports coming out of guys learning new pitches, and the team, the org wants them to start throwing this, or they see the data after like you threw in some games and they're like, oh well, like have you tried throwing with this grip or whatever it is. Is there like a pitch that you like besides your current arsenal and the changeup and everything, but like is there like a pitch that maybe down the line be like, I wouldn't mind learning that?
Yeah, I am open to anything that's gonna improve my game. Whether it's a curveball, cutter, splinker, anything out there. Yeah, knuckleball. No, but whatever, anything that's going to help me, I'm completely open to learning how to do. But as of now, the changeup is the number one priority.
All right, Ed. I think that's all on my end. I think you good on your end.
Number one video game all time.
Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Zombies.
What's that face? What's that face, Andrew?
Come on, man. Well, I just think it's like a different era. I think it's an era thing here because I got my Xbox in 8th grade, which was, oh gosh, like 2009, I think. So it was Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2 dropped that summer, and dude, that was the best Call of Duty game of all time.
I never played Modern Warfare 2 in its prime. I got an Xbox.
But you appreciate it though, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. But okay. I grew up. I'm more of a zombies guy when it comes to Call of Duty.
I'm really gonna date myself here, but actually, the first Call of Duty that was out when I had my Xbox was World at War, which was the original Zombies. I think that was the very first. Yeah,
that's the only Call of Duty I have ever played is that one. So you're not dating. Yeah. For me, you're not dating yourself. You're young and handsome today.
I was in 7th grade when that thing dropped, so whatever. But all right, Ed ended on that. I'm gonna end on my famous question because it's got to be a thing. Ed thought I was gonna retire it, but I'm not.
What are you gonna do when we have 2-second timers? Are you gonna be like, "Well, have you changed
I'm not
your
asking
ways
anymore.
yet?"
Wait, what was that? Anymore? Oh,
all right.
Oh, you're not gonna ask the new guys then? Okay.
No, I'm going to ask Calvin this because I never talked to him before.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. We can add it to the list.
Fast food guy.
Fast food guy? I do like Taco Bell. I'd have to give it to Taco Bell.
All right, we're gonna go a different genre here. All right, so I'm gonna give you a scenario, and and hopefully we'll see how we go.
He's from Ohio. He's not picking it.
Oh shoot, you're right. Well, let's just see what he does. All right. You want fast food fried chicken today, right? For lunch. It's not Sunday, so everything's open, right? So you want a fast food fried chicken. You can get a box, you can get a sandwich, whatever. And every single place is there. Like every single fast food chicken place in the entire country that you've ever been to is all right in front of you. Which one are you going to?
I'm going Cane's.
Okay. I figured that's how this
the batting average decreases.
All right. Well, Zaxby's is the true GOAT, but you've had Zaxby's before.
Cane's is way better.
All right,
in my opinion.
All right.
I haven't had either of those yet. I had Chicken Express at the recommendation of AA pitcher Hunter Dobbins, and it was pretty good. But I still need to try. Zaxby's. What do you like about Cane's?
The sauce. The sauce just makes it all better.
So do you kind of approach it as like the chicken fingers or the French fries or whatever it is? It's like a vessel for the sauce.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. I don't hate it. But if you do run into down in there in the complex, I don't know if you've like mingled with the guys that were down there, the injured group, but Taylor Broadway, big Canes guy. He went to college down in Tulane, or no, he was at Ole Miss. Big Canes area down there.
Yeah. No, Tulane was that was Brendan Chalucci. Yeah.
All right. Well, Calvin, that's all we have for you. We definitely appreciate you hopping on. Obviously, freshly signed that contract. Yeah. Like I said, we appreciate you hopping on a ton, and we are excited to see you get started in the system.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much.